Welcome back to the Black Health Lit podcast. This is a space where we can be Black, proud, and healthy. As a reminder, the information shared here is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. While you're here, check out the episode description to learn more about today's guest and shop Black, Proud, Healthy merch. When you shop merch, you're helping to support future episodes and free health education for the Black Health Lit community. Lastly, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this episode. Today, I'm talking with Tanesha White. Before we get into the content, can you introduce yourself to my audience?
Yes, my name is Tanesha White, and I am the CEO and head coach for Inspire Life Tribe, a corporate wellness program where we are dedicated to addressing and tackling the country's health crisis head on and starting right here in our local communities.
Okay. And you left out something. To your right, my right, and maybe your left, there's a few trophies. So toot your horn a little bit and tell my audience about what are those trophies about?
Yes. So really my passion in health, fitness, overall wellness, it really began with my own transformation. Like for many people, the first 10 years of my career, I inadvertently just started creating bad lifestyle habits, living out of a suitcase, single mom, just trying to climb that corporate ladder, like we always do. And one day I just looked in the mirror and I'm like, I don't like what I'm seeing. And so I just put on that David Goggins attitude and just went on the grind. I, hit the gyms. I documented everything on Instagram before like influencers were a thing, to really just keep myself accountable. You know what I mean? I'm like, if I keep posting, I'm going to have to keep posting.
You have to.
And so then I was introduced into the world of bodybuilding and figure competing, and I competed for 2 years. I was a six-figure champion,
Nice.
and obviously through that, I was able to gain a lot of like clientele from coaching and personal training, and have done that over the course of, 10 years just in part-time. And so, recently last year, I decided, you know what, I want to pursue my passion in helping people full time. So that was the birth of Inspire Life Tribe, where I inspire to bring life to everybody.
I love it. Excellent. I'm glad we circled back to those trophies so you can share a little bit more color about who you are as a person. So what are some notable emerging trends in the wellness industry, particularly in the corporate sector, that you've observed?
Well, this is a really timely question because just recently, Wellable released their 7th annual Employee Wellness Industry Trend Report. And so it's designed to guide organizations in making well-informed decisions regarding employee wellness benefits. So, a real strong authority in the space. And so they surveyed and identified 23 popular wellness solutions employers are investing in for 2024. So a majority of respondents anticipated greater investments in these top items. So mental health solutions, 91%, which was at the top.
That's huge.
Yeah. Yes. And, we saw the rise of those wellness options coming into play more so post-COVID, because there's no secret of the mental health decline that people suffered from being isolated, and it just continued to kind of perpetuate, right? And then number 2, stress management and resilience tools at 66%. How many times, I don't think there is maybe an hour that we don't miss an hour out of any time during our day where we may feel overwhelmed and stress just kind of takes over us. So employers, they're really seeing the importance of having some kind of resilience tools to help people manage stress. Number 3, telemedicine. Telemedicine was definitely on the rise post-COVID, giving people those options to be able to connect with healthcare providers right there from the comfort of their home, right? Another important aspect is mindfulness and meditation programs, 55%. And I love seeing this because mindfulness, it seemed to just kind of like take a vibe in the past couple years, right? I mean, you just see more people really tapping into more mindfulness and, practicing gratitude and really trying to dive into meditation. So I really find that interesting that employers, they're also, taking that in consideration.
Right.
And then, of course, lifestyle spending accounts to 52%. Those are offering more of like, kind of those inclusive choose your own wellness, which means, if I'm cryotherapy, if I want to spend it on massage, like all of these encompass the wellness lifestyle, right? So
Yeah.
we're definitely seeing a rise in those things. And so as we're looking at those statistics, the notable emerging trends, of course, is that I see a more integration of mental health programs
Absolutely.
into corporate wellness initiatives. Because
Yep.
in reality, if employers are really providing solutions to help improve well-being, because wellness really encompasses all that. If
It
we're
does.
feeling better, right? I mean, how do you feel when you hit your goals? Like when have you ever been on a diet? Talking to you, Ray. Have you ever been on a diet before? And like, how does it feel when
Mm.
you lose weight? When
Yeah.
you're able to fit some pants that you haven't been able to get in a few years?
Yeah.
Like, that is a significant improvement in someone's well-being. So it only
Right.
makes sense to integrate those mental health programs into corporate wellness initiatives. Another
It
thing
does.
is and so another thing is just emphasis on holistic wellness, including mental and emotional health. So really considering the wellness overall package as more inclusive, meaning that it encompasses everything. It's holistic. It's, addressing any kind of, mental,
Right.
helping you achieve physical goals, and then helping you just manage the stress. So, and another trend that I see is really adoption of technology driven solutions such as wellness apps,
Ooh.
wearables, and those kind of things can be integrated with, say, the telemedicine portion
Yes.
of these benefits packages. Because think about it, right? Like they could, measure biometrics through and have it, fed right there through the app.
Right.
And if you've got these really cool cutting edge solutions and having like maybe heart rate monitors, synced up with the apps. I know that's what we do at Inspire Life Tribe is a lot of the activity is monitored through heart rate monitors that
Right.
are synced within wellness apps, right?
Right.
Um, and then really another thing to note is that I see an increased focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion in wellness programs. And that's something that really needs to be addressed. But I think the underlying issue that employers have is getting the engagement,
Yes.
because a lot of these things, they're not inclusive. You look at, they may offer gym memberships or mindfulness apps, things like that. Well, only 80%, or I'm sorry, 80% of the population, they're not going to go to the gym. And it could be that they're intimidated, they just don't know what to do. But those things are just unutilized benefits, right? And
Yeah.
so I think the focus really needs to be on how can we really have inclusive programs.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
another thing to note, yeah. And so, I mean, those are just a few notable emerging trends. I mean, I could go
Yeah.
on with that. Um,
It sounds like uh, the mental health it intertwines with all of the trends, and then diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging also impacts. It sounds separate when we say it, but it also impacts mental health as well. So really, at the foundation of this, correct me if I'm wrong, is mental well-being, and then
right.
everything else sort of builds up on top of that foundation. Is that a good way to look at it?
Well, and I wouldn't say maybe builds up, but everything contributes to it,
Okay.
right? So we know that the focus is to, have those mental health programs to really help improve the employee well-being. But once you
Yeah.
incorporate all those aspects of wellness, whether it be in nutrition, improving activity, managing stress,
Yeah.
like all of that directly affects our mental health.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Thanks for the clarification. So can
Yeah.
you provide some examples of innovative wellness solutions? I know you talked about wearables, telemedicine, but can you talk about some innovative wellness initiatives or strategies that companies are trying, things that are new to implement
As far
and support
as
that holistic well-being or health
innovative
that you
wellness
talked about for their
solutions,
employees?
right. So I would say really it comes from the real innovative approach for wellness programs. It really comes down to being able to offer, um, apps that can be inclusive, where you're catering to hybrid remote environments. Like, we can no longer think of wellness as it's going to be something for on-site employees. Like,
Okay.
we're seeing a decline in on-site fitness classes. We're seeing a decline in those biometric screenings, free healthy food options, and those could all coincide with
Right.
the decline in people coming to the office, and employers actually just adopting more of hybrid approaches, or even just going 100% remote. Like, we could see that. But honestly, in my opinion, and from just my conversations that I've had with HR managers and some benefit administrators, is that the engagement on those types of things, on the traditional wellness offerings, they're just not seeing the ROI. They're not
Right.
seeing the engagement. I mean, typically right now, the average employee engagement on, wellness programs is 15 to 20%.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
yeah.
That's pretty
And
low.
it is. And, when I worked in a corporate company, and over COVID, when we were all working from home, we had, I mean, obviously a plethora of online wellness and Zoom calls and things that we could participate in. And,
Yeah.
we're talking about a company with thousands and thousands of employees. And I would maybe see, I would guess maybe 5%
Yeah.
engagement, people taking advantage of those programs.
Wow.
So, yeah. So that's huge. And that's why I say that, the really emerging technologies are, corporate wellness programs being able to have that cutting edge technology to keep people connected. That's not only helping them, achieve their personal goals, but
Yeah.
it also at the same time is improving that employee engagement. I just read that, I forget what article it is, but basically Gen Z and younger millennials, they they are more highly engaged than any age group
Wow.
out there. And so,
That's interesting.
you look at it, because a lot of them, they just can't connect with the mission and values of the companies that they're serving. And think about if you could actually incorporate a wellness program that really generates that team environment, maybe even a competitive space, but really a camaraderie, where you're spending just as much time with your coworkers, as you do with your family.
If
So,
not more.
yes, yes, sadly but true, right? And
Yeah.
so it's an opportunity to really create that cohesive environment, to where it really does drive up that engagement, especially
Right.
with remote workers.
Right.
I don't know how many times that I felt like I was just on an island of my own,
Yeah.
just working from home. Yes, it's nice, but it does have its
Yeah.
downsides.
It does. So you
Yeah.
talked about wearables, and I remember, oh God, probably 15 years ago when the first Fitbits came out. And they were so basic. And they were like step counters. I don't even know if Fitbit had become the word yet, but they were like this little bitty black monitor that people could clip on their belt loop, or, their belt buckle.
Oh, you're
And they
taking
were
it back.
so basic. You remember those?
Yes. Oh my gosh, you're taking it back. I'm thinking you're talking about the ones that you wear in your watch, or that were like a watch, but just
Yeah.
basic looking. But you're talking about the ones that were like belt clips, the little step counters. Yes,
Yes,
I remember those.
way back. They didn't connect to your phone, and you would have to plug them into the computer to download how many steps you did. Remember that? Or you would have
Yes,
to, and it would
yes.
be like, or you had to track it yourself manually,
That
and it
was
would be
so
like
long ago.
so long ago. But we've evolved. Talking about innovation, we've evolved all the way from a little Fitbit clip that people, and they would have the walking challenges, remember step challenges and stuff like that. And now we
Yep.
have Apple Watches, we have our phone, we have the health app on the iPhone, we have the Apple Watch. The Fitbit is still around. They've improved and made them a little bit more fancy with better wristbands. The Apple Watch has thousands of wristband options. So we've come a long way with how we track something as simple as how many steps did you get that day? Right?
Right.
Like something so simple. Is
Because like really,
10,000, oh, go ahead.
well, and it's funny because it's like, well, really weren't the steps that I was taking before I had the technology, wasn't that enough? Like
Yes. No, you have to have it on the app.
right, right.
Oh my God.
Just like a moving bar, like, oh, now the baseline is 10,000. Let me go take a break and walk around the block.
Yes. Is 10,000 still the number?
I think it is still the number. I think it
Okay.
is.
Okay. I went for a walk today. Um, I work at home most of the day. But one of my girlfriends works at home too, and she lives like down the street. So she texts me at like 11:30. The weather's beautiful. Do you want to get a walk in? I'm like, yeah. So I've been sitting on my butt all morning. So I only had like, I don't know, 1,900 steps by 11:30 this morning. So we go for a walk. We only walked for 30 minutes. And when I left, let me check now. Uh, I had 7,500 ish steps. So just walking for a short amount of time took me like 5,000 steps up. And that's half the day. And it only took me 30, 45 minutes to get there. So I think if you go for a walk, it's easy to hit the 10,000.
Yeah.
But if you're in front of the computer all day,
Yeah. Yeah. It becomes
then
difficult. It becomes
it's
difficult.
very difficult because that run to get the coffee, refill your water, and restroom breaks is not enough to get the 10,000. You have to be intentional.
Right, right. And I mean, Ray, what it really comes down to is, being sedentary and sitting at our desks is literally what's killing us, right?
Yes.
Even if you can't get up and walk around, like I always say, all right, get up and stretch,
Yes.
take a nice long stretch, get up, do some air squats, get the blood
Yes.
moving through your legs. Like you'd be surprised at you can get your heart rate up like you're doing HIIT just from doing some air squats. Like if you can incorporate that, you're making those overall daily habits of improving your wellness every day.
Yep.
So never feel, I always tell people like don't feel bad if you're not missing those markers when it comes to walks, because really what it comes down to is keep moving. Keep
Yeah.
moving.
A body in motion stays in motion.
Right.
I
Absolutely.
firmly believe that. Um, I have a neighbor, and she has to be, I would estimate from talking with her and like having conversations, as well as her outward appearance, she looks great. I would estimate she's at least 75. And
Wow.
she walks her dog every single day, obviously, but she walks the entire neighborhood. And she does it at a nice, slow, even pace. And she looks great. Her mood always seems high and good. So it's like we can't underestimate like going for a walk or doing that stretch, like you said, or some air squats, because it's also a mood booster, going back to that mental health piece you talked about before, right?
Right, right. Absolutely. It's, that nice boost of dopamine that's just like, yes, like
Yes.
moving. Or
Yes.
even like as it starts getting sunnier outside, getting warmer outside, like just even getting some time in the sun.
Yeah.
does so much for the improvement of, our overall well-being, and
Yeah.
happiness. Just, see what the difference is when you're, just staying in your house all day to when you finally get outside and you feel the sun on your skin, getting that natural
Yes.
vitamin D. It's amazing.
It's the most amazing feeling ever. So,
Yes.
going back to corporate wellness and DEI and all of that, have you seen any corporate wellness trends that specifically address the needs of their Black employees or addressing health disparities, or do they use it to promote inclusion?
I personally haven't seen programs that really address like the separate needs of, say, like the Black community or anything like that. They have,
Okay.
um, and I was thinking about this because, and this is what really drives my passion is, when we look at, different statistics across the board for just comparing, like, Black females were 2 to 3 times more likely to be overweight compared to non-Hispanic white females, right?
Yeah.
That's alarming. And then obviously people overweight, they're more likely to suffer from high blood pressure, high levels of blood fats,
Right.
diabetes, cholesterol, all those things. Um, and another alarming stat is like 4 out of 5 African American women are overweight or obese. 4 out of 5.
Wow.
That takes me back. And
Yeah.
so I think this, makes an important point where, if employers are making investments in wellness programs, it's time to really raise the awareness and offer those resources
Yeah.
for these separate groups to help them like really understand and incorporate resources that they
Yeah.
can learn separately that is affecting their communities specifically.
Right.
For example, like having Black health literature, having resources like that intertwined with their wellness programs where, maybe a segment or portion of the app contains these different resources and has call to action for people to take a look at them. Because again, the biggest challenge is, how are they engaging employees? That's what it really comes down to. But yeah, sadly, I haven't seen personally anything that addresses them separately.
Okay. Okay. That's an honest answer. Are you ready for some rapid fire questions?
Woo! Rapid fire questions. All
Yes,
right.
let's go. What does wellness mean to you?
Wellness. Oh my gosh, wellness is everything. So I think when I define wellness, I say it's a vibrant journey of actively choosing actions and lifestyles that cultivate holistic health. So it's not just about feeling good physically, it encompasses mental, emotional, and social well being all working together in harmony, right? While it's a personal journey guided by
Yes.
our choices. It's also shaped by the environments we inhabit. So unlike static states like health or
Yeah.
happiness, wellness is a dynamic process of self-awareness and intentional decision making aimed at achieving optimal well-being.
I love that definition. And I really like that you called out the difference between health and wellness. Wellness is definitely a journey, it's an individualized thing, and it's holistic. And you talk about how it's an intentional thing. It is not a passive thing. Wellness doesn't just happen.
Right. You have to, it's with intention. It is
Yeah.
with intention. Because
Yeah.
and I like what you said. It's a journey. It's not a destination because these are everyday decisions. This is a path you choose to live to improve your well-being on a daily basis. So I love that.
Okay. So, why is Black health literacy important?
And I mean, Ray, the statistics, they speak for themselves, right? I mean, it's time to really sound the alarm on really educating the Black community and promoting better health and wellness. And that's why I commend you so much on what you're doing with Black Health Lit. I mean, for me, it's an effort to break the generational curses of bad nutritional habits and sedentary lifestyles.
Yeah.
And and let me expand on that, because I will I will go to battle with anybody any day when, they're telling me, oh, well, diabetes, it's genetics, or, the cancer, it's genetic. And when I say it's bad generational curses means we have learned this passed down generation after generation. Bad nutrition habits, keeping pantries full of processed foods, like Oreos are a staple to be in there, chips, uh, all of those things. And
Junk food.
absolutely, absolutely. And those are just, they're learned, passed down generation after generation. And if we can change, you know, it, we have an opportunity to change the trajectory of people's lives, right?
Yeah.
We know that 40% of the population is pre-diabetic, meaning that if they continue on with the same thing that they're doing right now, they will be diabetic within 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. But if we can help them or teach them something that they can start to make some little micro habits throughout their day,
Yeah.
and then those micro habits become really daily habits that, again, they're habits, and it becomes your lifestyle, we have now changed the trajectory of someone's life, right?
Right.
And not even their life, not just their life, excuse me, but you become an inspiration to your family and your close friends, right? And
Right.
so bring that to the family, and that's how you can start to break down and break those generational curses.
Okay. I like that. That education piece is always at the center, in my opinion. And then last but not least, Tanesha, how can people learn more about you, Inspire Your Tribe, or Inspire Life Tribe, sorry, and all the work that you're doing? How can they follow your fitness journey? Just people who are interested and want to connect, where can they find you?
Yes, so all of everything around just like wellness tips, what Inspire Life Tribe is up to. You can follow me on LinkedIn. Just search my name, Tanesha White. You can also follow the Inspire Life Tribe company page. My personal Instagram, just search Tanesha White. You can kind of get a sneak peek into some workouts, share some, daily habits, daily routines of what I do. And of course, visit my website, inspirelifetribe.com.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming on, sharing your expertise, your journey, and continue the work that you are doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.